From Where's Your Next here on this Friday, October 31st, 2025. There's a lot to talk about today. I wanted to get on live. I meant to come on sooner. My sincere apologies for being a little bit later than I wanted to be, but here we go for today. I wanted to share some of the thoughts that I have. There was recent layoffs across the board. I'm going to pull up an article here that will reference what has happened, and then we'll go into some analysis real quick. Um, So if you look at the headlines, there was some recent updates on a wide variety of different topics. Um, so I'm just going to see if I have a CNN article on this. So let me talk through some things. Just trying to see and find a few things here. Give me 1 second. I'll pull this up. All right, I think I found a good article that I can reference here for you guys now that I'm up and live. So let's go ahead and share my screen and we'll get going here and start talking about this so you guys can hear some of this stuff. So the first article is this CBS News article here, and I just want to talk about that real quick. So the headline reads, "No hire, no fire job market may no longer be a thing as big companies announce mass layoffs." So if we read this, some really interesting insights, I think how it explains some of this stuff, I think captures it very well. This comes from CBS News. Did a pretty good job of kind of talking about what's happening in here. So let me walk you through this. For most of 2025, the job market was described by economists as no hire, no fire, a stretch of time where when face slim prospects, but workers on job security. Basically, nobody was laying off. But that fragile balance may now be shifting, labor experts warn, as mass layoffs at companies like Amazon and UPS signal a possible point for the labor market. Amazon on Tuesday this week announced a 14,000 job cut, citing a shift toward artificial intelligence, while UPS on the same day said it has reduced its workforce by 48,000 from a year earlier. Paramount and Skydance, the owner of CBS News, on Wednesday also announced it is shedding jobs, part of an ongoing effort to cut jobs at entertainment and media company. Target on Tuesday also notified a state employment agency in Minnesota, where the retailer is based, that it plans to lay off more than 800 workers in January as part of a broader corporate restructuring, CBS News Minnesota reported. The retailer announced last week that it would cut 1,800 corporate positions as the chain trims its global workforce by 8%. In other news, we also saw that Intel and a few others are also laying off workers, as did Microsoft, and Meta, I believe, is also doing the same. So we've got a few things here. John Challenger, CEO of outplacement firm Challenger Grand Christmas, said that no question that this is a shift. And it does seem to me it signals that no hire, no fire is a thing of the past. So I guess the question is, what do you do? And I think a lot of us are kind of keeping an eye on these things. It's very interesting. This is Challenger Grand Christmas also has been tracking some of these. Employers across the U.S. cut nearly 950,000 jobs this year through September, largest number of layoffs since 2020. Its most recent data shows. So that means that it is definitely accelerated. If you've been looking for a job, you're definitely feeling this, and you will know that it's a challenge for anyone out there right now. Official federal reports on the state and labor market have been suspended due to the government shutdown, but a lot of people have been depending on the ADP employment report, which has been pretty consistent. So they also reference that here on October 1st, the ADP National Employment Report, a measure of private employment in the U.S., said payrolls at private employers declined by 32,000 jobs in September. At the same time, recent reports suggest layoffs have accelerated in October. Grace Wimmer, associate economist with Oxford Economics, said in a report Wednesday. State level data also shows jobless claims by federal employees topped 10,000 in the week ended October 18th, a sign that the stalemate in Congress is taking a toll. Add on top of this, you have other news. I think one of the challenges we're also seeing is, although the unemployment rate officially stands at 4.3%, it might be larger right now. It's hard to know. We're also going into Christmas, so that may be interesting to see, what upticks in hiring may be. In fact, ADP has been releasing reports for the last on a weekly basis, and the week over week is showing that 14,000 jobs were added in a period of time. So it'll be interesting to see what their combined report says on November 5th when it does come out, and people are watching for that. Let me share a few other thoughts with you. Let me get out of this one. I'm going to close that off there, and I'll share another one with you in a minute here. There's a few things that I do want to keep on top of. So with all of this going on, we've got a lot of moving parts right now, and there's a lot of things to think about and ponder as part of this whole reality that we are in. So I'm going to, as part of my overall view today, I'm going to provide everybody that watches this. You'll have what I call my toolbox for staying the course and how to get yourself out of this mess that you might find yourself in if you've been recently laid off. I also have some empathy for federal workers because they have also been impacted to some degree in this past year with all of this stuff going on. So across the board, we're seeing a lot of stuff. I believe so that 950,000 number that Challenger Grand Christmas was citing may also be tied to some of the folks that might have been in the federal government. So when you take all that collectively, we got a lot of stuff going on. Let's look at layoff.fyi. There's a great resource that of the layoff tracker. Very interesting website, which kind of keeps an eye on different data that's happening across the board. So layoffs, I think it's layoffs.fyi. I'll just get that up here real quick. Okay, here we go. So this is an interesting site. Those of you who want to keep an eye on different things, I'm going to show you some data here that will also be interesting to you. So let me share my screen again. I'll pull that up. So I'm pulling up layoffs.fyi so you guys can see this website. So just talking with this real quick. So in 2025, you can see 218 tech companies with layoffs, 112,732 tech employees laid off, 71,000 government employees laid off by DOGE, 1,528 total federal departures. So with all this stuff going on, this guy has a pretty good website. It's very interesting. It keeps an eye on the different websites that folks are announcing different layoffs and where they're at. This is good information for anyone that's interested. Keep an eye on this. It's a very unique website that kind of lists when the layoffs were announced. You can see there are quite a few in October here across the board. Google had some, Handshake had some, Bill.com, TIA, Ludio, Meta, Altruist, Rivian, Applied Materials. So, aside from the news you've already heard, there's a lot of these you can kind of see over an overview there. So what's interesting about this is you can get monthly updates about layoffs sent straight to your inbox if you're interested, just to kind of keep an eye on what's happening. That's a good point of view there. Layoffs to FYI will give you an idea of what's happening out in the marketplace. So layoff charts, these are interesting. It just kind of shows, where these are and what the amount of layoffs where employees laid off, companies with layoffs. Those just showing you there was an uptick in October. July had an uptick. You can see throughout the year there's been last year around January. So it seems like to be a pattern where there's layoffs that happen in January, certain times a year around the quarters, when they have to report to their boards. That's typically when these folks will do this. So just interesting data, something to keep an eye on. This is a running average of layoffs since, the last few years. So you can kind of see very big uptick in Q1 2023. We've got, it's definitely trending down, which is good, but still, there's quite a few bit of hurt going on right now, and this is the largest amount of layoffs that have been announced since. Uh, this year has seen an uptick since 2020. So, with that said, a lot of people are saying these come from. There's several reasons. One, people say it's AI. Others say, what else can there be? I mean, you've got the federal workforce being trimmed. You've got tech companies that overhired in 2021, 2022. They thought they needed so many workers, but they overestimated. A lot of this problem stems from organizations, in my opinion, that don't plan well, and they don't do have effective workforce planning. So that is a big problem. So with that said, let me show you the employment reports from ADP, which I think will be interesting to you, and I think that'll be a good information. But just file that away in your mind. Layoffs.fyi, it's a good tool. Um, anyway, you can see we've got quite a bit of layoffs going on right now. So that's unfortunate. It's a situation that we got to be prepared for. My purpose today is just to try to help you be ahead of the curve a little bit and try to get, um, you know, just ahead of things better. So my next thing I want to share with you is some of the ADP employment reports. So you can how things have been shrinking, what's been happening across the board here, and that will help you to be ahead of the curve. So let me just show you some of the ADP employment reports. Right now, government employment reports are stalled. So ADP is kind of filling the void, which is a great point of data. I would definitely recommend you look at ADP's employment report each month. The next one's slated to go out on November 1st. So let me show you this last one that just barely came out, and we'll walk through a few of the ADP employment reports. So I just want to show you the last 3 months just to see the trend line that's been happening. So in September, private sector employment, according to ADP's data, shed 32,000 jobs. Now, again, this is a little sliver, a data point. ADP's payroll covers about 1/6 of the American workforce. And so, with that said, it's great data because it's prepared by ADP itself, which is very reliable. Pay was up 4.5%. Then you can see that employment shed 32,000 jobs of that 1/6 of American workers. So let me share another one with you. I want to kind of point you in that direction. I'm going to show you some of what the other reports have showed the last 2 months, and then what ADP overall is showing is a trend line of slowdown in the jobs market. Get that real quick. I'll show you the August one that came out prior. So again, this was released in September. So the summary of that was the ADP National Employment Report for August initially showed private employers adding 54,000 jobs. Strong performance in leisure and hospitality and construction. However, the report also noted a broad slowdown in hiring, attributing to factors like labor shortage, consumer caution, and the impact of AI. A later adjustment revised the August figure to a net loss of 3,000 jobs, with the most recent September report showing further decline. So that they had a little bit of a revision there. So there was a net loss, and then it accelerated into September report with 32,000 jobs lost. So very interesting information. So this is pertinent data, but let me show you what their July report said, and we'll get that up here in a real quick point. So let me go there next. So again, I'm just showing you different points of data here so that you can be prepared, and then I'll go into my toolbox with you in a few minutes. So share screen once again. I'm going to get up the July numbers. So that was an interesting data point as well. So this is another one here. The ADP July employment report, going back again, showed a private sector job gain of 104,000 jobs, a rebound from the 23,000 decline in June. growth was concentrated in the service providing sector, which added 74,000 jobs, while the goods producing sector added 31,000. Education and health services was the only major sector to report a job loss, which is a surprise because that's usually where there's a lot of jobs. But anyway, total private sector jobs 104,000. Previous month's revision, the June decline was revised to 23,000 from the previously reported 33. So as you look at these, it's a very interesting situation there. But you can see construction, manufacturing, and natural resources and mining were kind of leading the way with jobs, uh, or one of the breakout sectors that had a little bit of definitely had more activity. Service provided leisure and hospitality, education, health services, other services had some growth as well. So this might be seasonal. Um, what it basically showed was from the 3 months uh, between the summertime till about September, there was a slowdown. So that's really what it's showing, is that it was starting to slow down. And part of that could be attributed to tariffs taking effect, employers just getting cautious. Could be a number of factors, but that, this is just a big snapshot just showing that, and then we come to now where there's been a highlight of layoffs. So what I'm guessing is going to show in the November report from ADP released on November 5th is that there will be a net, you know, an acceleration of these layoffs and job losses, which we're hearing about in the headlines, but that will reflect in the numbers, should be a higher number um, from what you saw. So now let me drive into the next thing. So what are you supposed to do with all this information? I think one of the biggest challenges we're facing right now is an employer market that seems insurmountable. So, for those of you who have been laid off or going through this time, my heart goes out to you. I feel for you right now. I understand it's stressful, but what I'm about to do is share my toolbox. So, what you do with this information, I hope will help you. Just feel free to this will be on a re-recording. You can go back to it anytime. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is at Where's Your Next. Um, on YouTube. So YouTube/@ at Where's Your Next. So go check that out if you'd like. But here's my tips. So I'm going to jump back in, share my screen one more time, and this time I'm going to share my my screen uh, from the document I've prepared for you guys. This is my toolbox for all of you, and let's walk. What would I do? What would be my game plan for if I lost a job. So I'm going to go to the top of this document, scroll up, and give you that. And I just kind of put these tips into writing here to walk you through what to do as a toolbox for when you find yourself in this situation. So the first thing I would do if you've been laid off this past week, or you got a notification of any kind, my first step that I would recommend you do is first warn and allow yourself to be human. We're in an environment where a lot of people since COVID have kind of been taking it on the chin. Mental health issues are up at an all-time high. I would highly recommend to go to your family, go to friends, go to people who understand you, start venting, get it out of your system. Let yourself mourn a little bit for the loss of the job. But don't mourn for long. You got to get back on your feet. You got to get back to a sense of logic instead of emotion. And that's, a lot of people get stuck in this first stage. Um, you got to allow yourself to mourn and be human, but do it quickly. Maybe a couple weeks maximum, just to get your feet under you, know what you're going to do, and start getting the logic back in your head. We got a flight or fight response that comes out, is very natural, and that's going to happen to everybody. So my recommendation is get back on a solid footing of logic so that you can start the way forward. It's not your fault this happened. It's your company might have made a mistake. They didn't plan well, whatever it may be. So now it's up to you to get back on your feet and go forward. And as the longer you're in this depressed state, the longer it's going to take for you to find a job, because you got to be in a logical place and in a confident place to find your next role. So get that done. Get yourself uh, human interaction. Get yourself some help. Uh, go to your friends. Your mentors. Sit down, talk with them, and start that process of healing so that you can get back on your feet. Okay, this happened. It's not your fault. It's part of life sometimes, where you get something thrust upon you that you can't help. So here's my recommendation for after that. Get start Once you get to a logical state, get a sense of your finances. Immediately file for unemployment. Get a sense of how much any severance will help you. What resources do you have? What savings do you have? Take stock of financial circumstances immediately. Who in your network can help you? Get all that stuff started immediately. Start getting the foundation set to help you get through this period of time until this transitional period. Seek temporary employment situations. So the next step is, okay, what can I do to feed my family now? Once you get stuck of how many resources you have in point two, seek temporary employment situations, retail, organizations in need of seasonal help, gig work, or other project-based work, DoorDash, Uber, Grubhub, Spark. Um, this is what I did in my last job search, and it helped me tremendously. I was able to get back on my feet because I had a prior income. I had a second stream of income behind me. So get that up and running, get, whatever income you can coming in the door, get a sense of your whole financial income cash flow situation. Can you cut anything? Think logically. So I'm just saying, get a foundation for those things. If you have a financial advisor, consult with them, talk with them, whatever you need to do to get a stock. Maybe you're good at this already, but just get a sense of what your resources are, and do these logical things right after you've mourned. So now, what do you do in the next phase? Once you've decided and done this, you can set your career plans ASAP, the modern foundation to job search. Job search has changed tremendously over the years. It's gotten way different. So one of the things that most people struggle with, they're next in front of them. They're not thinking 2 or 3 steps down the line. They're thinking a temporary scenario. Hey, I got an income coming in. I'm happy. I'm just doing my thing. But you need to get an idea of what you want to do next. What is that ideal role? What is going to make you happy going into the next chapter? How are you going to do that? Do you have transferable skills? Could you take a job that isn't quite in your field, but might be, uh, think of it this way: were there vendors that you worked with that was there a side industry in your world where your skill set? I'll give you an example. For an HR recruiter person, you might go into a vendor. So, for example, some of the tech vendors in recruiting in HR, there's tons of them. That could be a possible space for you. You could be a customer solution consultant selling, for example, the ATS my organization uses is called iCIMS. So you could be an iCIMS solution consultant. Think of it that way. Could you be a person that could sell those solutions in the future? There are many, many, many of these types of jobs out there, and that is a very viable way to go while you look for an internal role. Many people haven't thought about that. And other industries example might be a procurement solution that helps them do their jobs. Marketing, you could be working for Salesforce as one of their go-to people. Just think about that. Do a kind of a alongside snapshot comparison of what transferable skills might go into other industries that you might not have thought of. That will open your doors tremendously to other opportunities you didn't think of before. If you were in recruiting, you could go into sales very easily. Can you make the transition? Maybe that's not what you want to do, but just think about it. Start opening the doors to other options to not just limit yourself to one small slice of the pie, so to speak. Seek reference, librarian, career coach, mentors to help you solidify your plans. Don't skip this step. It's crucial. Your messaging be polished and ready for interviews and value conversations to employers. That is so critical. You got to know exactly what you want and why. If you can answer that question, you're ahead of 90% of job seekers already. Solidify your 60-second commercial pitch, your why hire me commercial. Start tailoring resumes. Ironically, you can use artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT to help write a resume, feed it critical details, LinkedIn profile, your accomplishments, and your current resume. A few sample job descriptions of the role you want with the prompt. With this information, help me write a concise and tailored resume for X role that I want. Just an example. Experiment with it. It will help you tailor your resume. It can help you get your resume and your general cover letter template ready to go, so that when you're sending out your resumes, you have something ready and you're not doing it from scratch. Just something to think about. So that's what I call your core message, getting that all set up in order to be effective. So you got to have one, the understanding of what you want, the transferable skills, and the type of role that's going to help you. And do this for these temporary scenarios as well. Maybe there's a project-based role that you could set yourself up with. Start getting a sense of your network. What ideas can you do? Very important. So that is how I would get started. Getting that foundation of your core message in play will help you be effective. Now, start having ChatGPT send you fresh job alerts that appear from job boards daily. That is scoops from the web. I'm serious. You can actually do this. You can ask jobs for a certain discipline. I'm doing this now in my own job search because my contract ends in January, but this is something you can do. I'm asking it to send me talent acquisition and various recruiter roles every day. I'm also having a curated list come from LinkedIn for pure remote roles. I'm having one from ZipRecruiter and Indeed. And I'm also doing this from Monster and Dice. So those pretty much help me cover all my bases. And then I'm also having it send me frequent organizations that might be hiring in the next 6 months in my field, or within industries that may be hiring based on what's going on. So with a research librarian, create a list of target companies. That's step two. I kind of alluded to that. Glassdoor's best companies to work for list, remote friendly companies list, competitors of your last employer list. Those competitors may be wanting to hire you. So think about that. Very important. If they laid you off, wouldn't you be a possible fit for some of the roles that those in your core industry have? Think about it. It's very powerful. It's a great way to find a job quickly. Fortune best companies to work for list, book of lists for your region. Again, you also want to come up with a list of the best employers to work for, because they're friendly to employees. They don't treat you like a widget. That's a focus. If you're into startups, look for venture capital backed firms. There are plenty of these right now. And many of these like to hire folks from tech companies. So if you're in a tech layoff, keep that in mind. 3 to 6 months. Ask ChatGPT, based on revenue. It can do the quick analysis for you. Go to VentureBeat, go to TechCrunch, look at some of those. They have some very good input as to what to look for. Find contacts on those company lists through LinkedIn or mutual contacts and start contacting them. You can run prompt for ChatGPT to help you create a message template to send to those folks, or simply modify the cover letter you came up with earlier. Later in this dialogue, I will go on Google and I'll actually show you a couple of places how to find contacts on LinkedIn more easily, so that you can find contacts and put them into a list. I'll teach you how to do that using Boolean commands. Tenure Professional Association meetup. Frequently, SHRM, for example, has a monthly chapter meetup, and that is usually local. Get to that event, go there and find it. Let me stop sharing for a minute, and I'm going to switch back over to showing you some information from the Department of Labor's Professional Association Finder. This tool is amazing because it will help you find information about the professional association in your area. Might be a great point of human contact with leaders in your field that can help you get a job faster. Here's what happens. A lot of folks are only tapping into the 25% um, of jobs which are posted. There's another 80% or so that may never get posted. In other words, you may need your network to go forward and get into those jobs. So how do you do that? By creating this curated list of companies who might be hiring in the future who don't have postings yet in your field. Get ahead of the curve before the mob comes. And if you go to any LinkedIn posting, you will see that it has hundreds of people that have clicked on that post, and you don't know how many of those people have already applied. So that's why within having Chat GPT, these different places send you curated lists of when jobs post. So my first step, the next step would be I'd apply to all jobs within 2 weeks of when I know that I wanted a job search and get all those applications done all over the place. Just send them all out, get them all done within 2 weeks, and just cover all your bases. And then have ChatGPT, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, LinkedIn send you a 24-hour refresh of freshly posted jobs that it puts out there for you, coming to your email, looking at the ones, sorting the ones you want to apply to, and then applying. And then to keep an eye on the jobs every day. Some of these jobs may be reposted over and over again, but just do the ones that were within the last 2 weeks. You can set your parameters, set your job title search, and then just do within the last 2 weeks, and then just have a fresh apply every day from there, a 24-hour feed or 48-hour feed, whatever you feel most comfortable with, and then apply to those jobs as they come out fresh, and then you'll be at the top of the stack. Go right into the application where someone's reviewing actively your resume in the beginning, if they're serious about filling that job, and then you're ahead of the curve. So that's a great way to go about it. My recommendation is get those applications in as soon as possible. But if you're starting a job search today, start within the last 2 weeks from the date you wanted to start searching. So if it was today, I'd go 2 weeks back, no more than that, because a lot of those jobs are older. You don't want to touch those. And then just start doing the ones that come within 24 hours and keep going with those. What that's going to do is going to keep you at the forefront, at the top of the list for each job that's coming out. The next step is creating these curated lists that will help you as well. So let me, I think I got sidetracked with my tangent there, but um, let me look at, so some of these can be really good resources. So one another one that's really good, Book of Lists, Flex Jobs, Best Companies to Work For list. Um, and then once you've identified the ones that you want to work for, let me show you how you can jump online and start finding jobs on your own. So, or finding contacts at these companies using Boolean command. So I'm just going to close all these extra windows here and then jump back in just so I'm a little bit clear. So here we go. Get that back up. Okay, so I've got a fresh Google window. Thanks for bearing with me here for a minute while I get updated to the next thing I wanted to show you guys. So let's do this real quick, share screen, and then I'm going to go to new tab, Chrome tab. There we go. So this is Google. So what I'm about to teach you is what I call the cite command for finding contacts on LinkedIn. This works really well. It's a great way to find these things. And this is a tool that you can use to find information at your contacts. So here's what I would do. I'd go like this, cite linkedin.com in, and you just do it just like this. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the places you can go. So LinkedIn frequently will refer to a general vicinity. So let's just say for fun, let's do Houston. So I'll just type in Houston, and then I'll type in, say it was an electrical engineer. So this is what I'd call a peer search. This is, you're looking for peers within this. If you're an electrical engineer, finding peers within your industry, within Houston. Let's just show you how this works so you can kind of see what it looks like. So that's just a quick thing. And now what you can see here is it's pulling in people with last name of Houston. I'm going to fix that real quick. So I'm just going to go like this, Houston, comma, Texas. So this should get me close to what I want. Just have to play with it a little bit. There we go. Now it's working. So if you do it just like this and you set up just like this, you'll find contacts in your field. Okay. So this is an interesting. So you can see quite a few people come up. So how I would use this information is if you use Google a little bit more as well, you can come back and then find a phone number. So if you went in and typed in the name of the company that someone worked for. So for example, let's just pick on Javier real quick. So if I go to Javier right here at the top, it looks like he works at EDG. So I'd want to call him at EDG. So I'd Google EDG in Houston, and then I could get their company directory number. So if I have the company directory number, I can type in his name using the dial by name feature on the info there, and then I can actually call and leave him a voicemail and say, "Hey, I'm networking for my next role. I see you're an electrical engineer at X company. Would love to talk to you. Please give me a call back if you have some time." I would do this for like maybe 10, 15 people. If you do this per day, that's a great way to find information and get yourself some. You can also send them a LinkedIn contact. Other ways to find contact information, you could take this EDG um, number, this EDG uh, company name, plug that into Google, and then put in Rocket Reach. Let me show you this. I'll show you how it works. Hold on. So let me do this here. I'll show you. So EDG Rocket Reach email configuration. So what happens is it shows you kind of a general idea of what the email format would be. And it gives you kind of a guideline of, okay, this is used by this many employees. First initial, last at, so you can see 100%, first initial, last at this. So this is the configuration that most of the company is using. And so what's great about this is it's going to give you an idea. I would say it's probably this one right here, EDG communication, is likely where he works. So by typing in Rocket Reach EDG, it's going to show you a general idea of what the email configuration is so that you can plug that in. So if you have the name of the person, you can potentially email them by using this information, and that's your email contact 9 times out of 10. So they're pretty good. I use this if I were, doing recruiting to find a person on the back end. I would use this to help me find their contact info. So it's just one way I use it. I like the Rocket Reach. So this is my number one way of doing this. If you're like a recruiter too, you could have something like Signal Hire or Kendo Sourcing for $100 every year. If you're willing to pay for it, you can find like 20,000 email addresses. So, and then you could go to that person's profile, it would pull them up. So those are a couple ways to find contact information, but the easiest way is to type in EDG, like so, EDG company phone number, like this. See, so we could call that guy, and then it gives me this right here. See this? So it's it's giving me their main uh, area right here. This is a number I could call, but if I wanted to get more specific, I could type in Houston, and then it gives me this. So that right here, EDG Incorporated Houston 713-952-4500. So what this is basically doing, if I had the name of that person, then what I could do is I could call this number. I have their name, first name, last name. It usually asks me for their last name and their first name in the dial by name directory if they have one. Most companies do, or the receptionist will. And then you could ask that person, "Hey, I'm trying to get a hold of this person just to talk through networking or whatever you want to say. And then you're basically using social engineering to get to that person in order to then have them help you. Creative, you just say, hey, I'm just networking in the area. I got his name and was hoping to connect. And then most of the time they'll put you through to their voicemail. If they won't, then you can use the other technique, which is to use uh, the email configuration from Rocket Reach. Just type in the company name, email configuration, then you've got what you want. And that's a great way to find people. Let me show you another way to find some other folks kind of loosely. And this may be of interest to many of you in finding contact information for contacts. So let me show you another way to do this. So you go, once again, so we're going to use LinkedIn because that's one of the easiest ones to find. Site linkedin.com, again, using Boolean / this. And we're going to go, actually, you want to use in because most everything, what we're basically telling the website to do is find this configuration and search websites for profiles. It's basically what we're doing here. So my next thing I'm going to do is something like this, HR, or now if you're using Boolean commands, you can also use what's known as the pipe symbol. So or is the same as this. So basically you're telling it to find this or that within this parenthesis. So if you're just a straight person looking for talent acquisition, this is the way to get a hold of your person for job opportunities, get a hold of the recruiter at that company. This would be of interest to many job seekers, but I'm sure many of the folks who are also in HR or recruiting would benefit from this as well. So people, so many organizations are starting to use people operations, people, whatever. So that's something you'd want. So HR, talent acquisition, TA, recruiter, people. I think that's probably also want to do human resources. So you're covering all your bases with this to find decision makers in HR. So if you wanted to target, a lower level people, you could do recruiter, coordinator, whatever. But I'm going to go for decision makers at the top, VP or vice president, or let's see what other ones are there. Director. So now what this is going to do is you're going to want to add a location. So if you're just looking for any old thing, you could use this particular string here. It will pull up any of the LinkedIn profiles that relate to these titles. You can do a lot with this. I want to change chief to I before E, so my spelling is correct. But say I wanted to do it within, let's just say Seattle, Washington. So I'll go like this, Seattle. For those of you who are at Microsoft. So watch this, Microsoft or Amazon. So now what I've got here for you, as you're looking at this, I just told the website to find LinkedIn profiles that relate to Seattle. So what you've basically done here is if you knew different contacts within LinkedIn or within different companies within Seattle, you now have a list of people in Seattle that might be able to help you. And it gives you tons and tons of these people to maybe call. So you've got a wide variety of these. So what you're basically got here is a wide variety of opportunity to contact different people. You can see their LinkedIn profiles. You can see where they're connected to. If you were looking for a network contact at a certain company, you could see Steve C here works at Lululemon. If you connected with him on LinkedIn, he might accept your invitation. But now you have different people that you could get a hold of. So say it was, I believe Nike's up this. If I just wanted to find someone from Nike, this would now give me different people that I could call. You can also get this information from the websites of the company as well. Here's a recruiter that's at Nike. It's pulling in a wide variety of different types of people. Here's Kate, Senior Director, Nike People Strategy. This might be a good contact for you to reach out to, especially you know that this person is likely in Seattle. So I'm just pulling up the profile real quick. And as I look at they're based in Portland, but they probably had a connection to Seattle at one point. So as you can see, there's various people here that you can contact. So Kate would be a great resource at Nike to get a hold. We have that information. You could then go something like this. So watch what I'm about to do here and show you. So I'm going to press the back button, and then I'm just going to go. So this string is like this. So if you want to take a screenshot of that, I'd recommend you do that. Take out Nike. So this is the configuration of how you could find HR leaders within Seattle, Washington, if you're looking there. So you can do this by region, or you can do it by company. Once you know kind of the configuration of how to write this, then you can use this information to find any contact at any company that might be able to help your job search. So that's that tip. So I just want that to be out there, but this is the configuration. Get a hold of me if you'd like to learn more about this stuff, but this is the Boolean. This is what I do every day, and this is how people can find people. You can also find this, let me show you the Department of Labor's tool for professional associations real quick. Now that I've shown you all that. That's what I think I was going to show you earlier, but let me get that up. So if I go to Department of Labor, Professional Association Finder. So you go like this. This is called the Career One Step. Take note of this because this is a really good tool. Now, this really cool tool right here will help you find local professional associations that could be something that could help you. So, for example, if you're in software engineering and you were just laid off, I'd go like this and just search this. Now, what it's done is it's pulled up it has a database that still looks like it's working. It's even government shutdown's not affecting this, but it's showing you some of the main places that you can find professional associations. Now, why this is important is you could choose any of these. So say it was any of these organizations, software and information industry associations, start with that one. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull up, let me just put this in the other website for you. So go back here. So take a screenshot of that website at the top there before I jump to the next thing. So I'm going to read this over. It doesn't look like it's showing it there for you, but I'm going to read it to you. So just if you type in Department of Labor Professional Association Finder, you can find it. But career1stop.org/toolkit/training/professional-association.aspx. But if you Google the Career One Stop Professional Association Finder or Department of Labor Professional Association Finder, you will find this. So back to what I was saying, I'm going to plug in this organization that popped up for software engineers. And I want to show you some characteristics of a professional association that could help you in your job search. So this organization is the Software Information Industry Association. So this organization has a membership. Some of these may have a job site or a job board that you can jump into, depending on how detailed it is. But some of these memberships They also have staff. So you see this right here. You can a wide variety of different things here that may be helpful to you. So go to their staff, and then it shows you the names of people that own this organization. So this is the president. Click on him. It's going to give you an about him. And so many times, some of these organizations may have a LinkedIn group that you can join. They may have, if you have a name, you can generally find these people. So Christopher Moore is the guy who leads this organization. So you could email him and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. I would love to network. Is there anything you can do to help me? So, and many times they'll have chapter groups uh, that may be of help to you. So each of these folks might contact, maybe you choose like 2 or 3 of these to reach out to, and you can find these folks. So that's another way to use this tool. They have different divisions. They have membership. So if you look at membership, you've got various people that are members of this association. And many of these organizations will also sponsor events. They'll have professional association meetups, chapter meetups, a wide variety of different things. So this is just one example. So you can see various things that these guys do. Oh, see, they have a conference. So they generally have a biannual World Financial Information Conference. And so then, this might be relevant to you, it might not be. Anyway, it's just an example of what you can do. Oh, see this right here? If you joined, there's their job search tools right there. See this? So many times organizations will come here and they'll post a job board on their job board, a specific job to this niche. And so that's why professional associations are so powerful. But now you can see that they've got a few things listed here that might be a fit for you potentially. So if you were looking in this niche, they might be a little more specific to a specific industry, but then you can get a hold of different things. Sometimes these organizations will also have what's called a membership database. And the membership database can also be used as a networking tool. So let me show you some others. I'll do accounting next, just so you can see what this looks like. And say an area of expertise that you'd like to join or be part of. So this could be an area that you want to explore. So coming back to this, you go like this: industry, occupation, or association name. I'll say accountant, like so. And then it's going to give you several of these. So the Association of Accounting Marketing. So all these might have different niches. There's some that are affinity group type ones that could be interesting depending on what you have in common with them. The American Accounting Association is probably a good general one. So you jump in here. Let me show you what this looks like. I just clicked on that one. I'm going to have to put it back on that other tab for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's another example of the American Accounting Association. So look at this website. You see a few things immediately. Meetings. So they have these different meetings that they're going to do. Some of them have membership chapters. So if they have a search button on here, you go search right up here in this little box, and then you type, you're going to be looking for a wide variety. So I would type in chapter. So when you look for so they'll either call themselves chapters or sections. So they have, that one's not doing what I want, but let's go like this: section. So they have various topics. So again, it just is a good idea to search it for these. So if I was looking for the American Accounting Association, let's go to meetings. Let's see what this comes up with. Okay, so what you got here is various meetings. So if you look at this, These might be chapter meetups. So let's just look at Orlando, for example, events. So you go to the national page, many times they'll list event networking events that you could go to, where you've got folks that are going to, um, just do um, networking opportunities for you, or they'll have some kind of professional development work stream of some kind, whatever. So these are very interesting. Many times they'll just have, folks that could be a good niche for you, and then you can kind of see the different people. As many times these will also have speakers. So there might be a speaker at the meetup that you could go to, and then this person would provide you some great information that might be helpful. But those are some great things that you can look into as well. So professional associations are very powerful. This, specific American Accounting Association is really good. So let me show you the American Marketing Association now. I'm going to just close out of this one. I just wanted to kind of give you some ideas of what you can do with these. So, um, and again, many of these have some kind of, let's see what their people looks like here. I'm curious about this. It's good to poke around on these. So if you find one that's of use to you, oh, look at this. So right here, as you're looking at this, it has a directory. Here you will find the current year's directories of board directors, council members, committees, task forces, section and region officers, and AAA professional staff. So if you wanted to join this organization, you would then have access to their awesome networking tool and their membership databases, which they list down here. So this is a great way to find more contacts that you might not have thought of that might be in your industry that can help you get a job. And many of these folks are open-minded to helping. So Career Center. So if you look at this one, they also have this Career Center here, which lists a wide variety of jobs that are niche to this particular field. So let me share this with you. Once I clicked on that, it disappeared because it went to another tab. So, and Restream doesn't like me putting in different tabs. So let me just throw that there for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So I clicked on their Career Center within this American Accounting Association. And so now what you see here is just a list of different types of, so you could sign in as a job seeker or as an employer. If you sign as a job seeker, many times those are free, or there'll be a small nominal cost to join their professional association to get on their email list and get different options. And then they'll post different jobs there. And so then you can get job alerts, and this is just another way of finding what you're looking for. So this is a great way to find a niche um, and become part of this. If you're an accounting person, this would be a way to find a job quickly for you, or more, a little bit faster, if you will. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go back to the one final thing I want to show all of you before I jump into my final thoughts today. But there's a lot here that you can look into. So now I'm going back to the professional association database here once again. And again, this website is careeronestep.org/toolkit/training. And then you type in professional associations. So if you just put in Career One Stop Professional Association Finder, this will give you that database, which is really cool. So great information. This is a great way to find jobs. So a lot of people aren't doing this. 90% of the people that look for jobs probably aren't using a tool like this. So let me plug in another word for you. So American Marketing Association. These guys are pretty good. Some professional associations are better than others, but at least this gives you a list of various ones that you'd want to check out. So if you're in marketing, I would definitely want you to be part of the American Marketing Association. And here's why. They have resources for a lot of job seekers. So now that I've clicked into that, their website is ama.org. So if I'll just plug that in here so you can see and follow me. So now that we're here, the essential community for marketing people. Now, another website, you can kind of see what it looks like. I would go here to the AMA, about the AMA, and then just look and see if it has chapters. So what I'm going to be looking for, in you can type in the search box chapters. And so let me see if that has what I want. So here we go. It's getting closer here. So sometimes just finding this information, you just have to their stuff a little bit. And then once you kind of know the name of the association, you'll be able to figure out where some of these are. Um, so yeah, so some of these have local chapters. So what I would do, some of them are better at putting them to the, like click back onto this. Let's see if I can find what I'm looking for here. So I would be looking at the events. So I would click on events, try to look at that, look at join. Sometimes when you join, you go to the join one, they're going to show you what the chapters are. Let's see what you got here. So got it. Get that out of there. 29,000. Okay, so they got 65 professional chapters. So this is what I'm looking for right here. So you can see that they've got statewide chapters. So the next thing I'd want to do to drill down, many of these have separate websites for their stuff. So I'm just looking for, oh, there it is. This is what I was looking for. Because so I went, some of them put it in better places than others, but you can see right here, these guys actually put it in their membership. So here's the local chapter. I think you can see what I'm looking at. Hold on. It just opened up another, this is under their member benefits tab. I'm going to copy and paste this in here for you because it brought me another screen again. So let's do this here real quick. Okay, so there you go. So if you look under member benefits, some of them are a little more intuitive than this. You know, they'll actually have a little link that says chapters. So sometimes you have to click around to find it. So then local chapter here. Now you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So the local chapter right there is showing some great information about what their local chapters are. And many times they do have a link. So I'm just looking to see if I can find that. Oh, here we go, right here. So you go find professional chapter, and then they have a little map. This is exactly what I was looking for. If you see like right here, if you're in marketing, you can see where some of their chapters are. Now, if they don't have one, let's just click on one for fun. And then this one, say it has their link right here, amacolorado.org.home. So I would click on that. And let me show you. Don't spoil this. Okay. It says it's using an protocol that doesn't work, which is weird, but let me try another one. Let's see if this one's better. Here we go. Okay. So now this is Bowling Green, the Bowling Green American Marketing Association chapter. So let's show you what that looks like. Now, again, you have to dig for these. You can also Google them. So Google, once you find the professional association of your choice, the one you want. So now what I'm going to do, I clicked on that link, and this is where it brings me to. So I'm bringing you to that website. This is what theirs looks like. This is the Bowling Green one. Has an about us. It talks about who they are. You can kind of see a little bit more about what they do. And then members, go their members one. And then, so now I'm looking for several things. So if, say I had contacts, you could send them a general email. This person right here is their VP of communications, and it gives you her email address. So you click on that and it will immediately pull up an email address for her, and it just has pmo.bowlinggreen@gmail.com. So they have a generic email address. However, that person probably has the responsibility to look for that for you. And so you could get a hold of Ashley either by LinkedIn. She even has her Facebook here and a Twitter account. So with that said, you could also look for, um, let's look at their About Us page and see if we can find their, um, aha, here we go. This is what I was looking for. These guys set up a little weird. Sometimes they'll say our leadership, but these guys just put it at the bottom of their About Us. So here's their president, and it has her email address. So you could actually email her directly. Um, so any of these, you could click on these emails, little boxes here, and it'd pull up their email for you, and it would connect to their email. So you could send them a message with your resume and a networking reach out. So again, a little bit of digging, but this just shows you how the American Marketing Association works. They're a little bit better about having their chapters listed. Some are better than others. But again, keep in mind that professional association finder. This is why that's so powerful. I'm just teaching you ways to find people. I showed you that on LinkedIn earlier. Any of these resources can help you. So to finalize here, I just do want to say thank you for coming. I hope this is helpful to you. I know I went a little long today, longer than I wanted to, but I'm going to show you one last thing, and I'm going to go back to um, my final points here on here. So I got a little bit off topic. I was talking about finding contacts. So to wrap up, find those contacts through various means, like I showed you. You could attend your professional association meetup, the monthly chapter meeting, announce you're looking for a job, bring a business card with a QR code to help connect to your resume. You can set that up through any resume service. You could even, LinkedIn has an option for that as well. For purposes of this presentation, I can't show you how to do that here, but you can figure that out. You'd want to look in your area there. But when you go to your privacy tab or your privacy settings on LinkedIn, you can access your data, and then you can find your LinkedIn contacts, and it will put them into a spreadsheet with the name of the company and many times their contact information. So you can immediately get a contact list from there. Like I said, do the stuff at the beginning that I talked about. If you want to go rewatch that again, there's information about how to find jobs. Set up daily job notifications for you so you can get there. Make sure you have message all set up, your commercial and all that. But again, one of the most powerful things you should be doing for your career is to go to these professional association meetups and figure that out, or throughout your career. You can try an automation apply tool if you wish. I've heard varying things about these AI tools. They'll apply to jobs automatically. They use use the low cost plan. Organize a spreadsheet with 2 tabs: companies you applied to and date, any follow up you wish to take with any key decision maker, and the organizations you create a target list to work with. Identify any local job fairs, meetups, etc. Um, I talked about downloading your primary data. Join a job seeker support group. There's this state's workforce development department may have some of these resources and get you a group that you can have job seeking. You don't want to do it on your own. You're in a bubble. It can be hard. People cheering you on really help keep you motivated. Find one of those if you can. Interviews and offer end here. I'm going to cover these quickly, but I think they're important. They're very powerful tools. Practice your interview technique and prepare answers to common interview questions. If you go to Indeed, they already have a built-in tool for answering specific questions and what kind of questions might be asked in an interview. Some of the common behavioral-based questions. A lot of interviews are behavioral these days, and some of them are technical. So being able to speak to that. A note of caution about tools in an interview. Many organizations can see that you're doing that, so you want to have your answers off the top of your head. And again, this is why practicing is so important. You don't want to be the person that looks like you're reading off a script of AI. Oh, this is what the AI told me to do. That's very, don't use ChatGPT in an interview if you can avoid it. It might get you in trouble. As you start to progress in interviews, write thank yous to the decision makers and a follow up post interviews if you haven't heard for a while. Um, One of the things that a lot of people do is they don't follow up in the interview. They don't close with thank you notes. It's actually very powerful. Helps you connect. It makes you memorable. About, I would say, maybe less than 60, maybe less than 50% of people actually write a thank you. So those are more memorable candidates. So make sure, from me to you as a talent acquisition professional, write a thank you. It's very powerful. Have a salary number negotiation in mind. Know what your needs are, so that you don't have to be looking in another few months. This is again why targeting organizations can be so powerful. Going to those best companies to work for lists, going to Flex Jobs, and their best remote companies to work for list can be great. Build 2 to 3 streams. So the final notes I would have for you is build 2 to 3 streams of income if possible. Maybe you own a property and you've got real estate money coming in. You could rent a house and make some extra money. You could use Airbnb to do that. There's a wide variety of gig apps out there that you could take advantage of, like DoorDash, and maybe you don't want to do that kind of work, but hey, it's something. Having an extra stream of income is very powerful. Um, Attend your professional associations frequently. Become a SME in your field of expertise, and then your phone might ring in the future without a job application. Try to go to conferences whenever possible, tied to various networking conferences. Whatever the fee is, pay it, go to it. Get to meet people there. I mean, it's really worth it. We're in a time where COVID made a lot of people go inwards and kind of into themselves, into a shell. And these conferences are a way to get you back in front of human beings again that share your common interests. Very powerful stuff. Well, it was great to be with you. I wish you all the best, no matter what you're going through. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for attending my little uh, blurb here today, and my little toolbox presentation. Until next time, from Where's Your Next, Mike out.